Okay, so today I want to talk to you about pedigree charts, which are very similar to family trees. And scientists have simplified these family trees to just a few different symbols and keys. So, as you can see here, here's a key. A filled in thing would be for brown hair, a non filled in thing would be for blonde hair. This will change with every trait. So, every pedigree you have or that you create, you should have a key. Circles are always going to be female for the most part, squares are going to be male. There is obviously an exception if there's non binary or transgender people. And when you're making your own family tree, you can choose to use those. Just add that to the key. So if you're not going to use circles as female and squares as male, or you're going to have a third or fourth option, make sure to include it in the key so that whoever's reading your chart, probably me, understands. All right, so here we have a very simple family tree. We have mom and dad, or at least a male and a female that have gotten together. So let's say, for simplicity, mom, dad, and then they had 3 children, right? So the line in between them says that they've been together. The line coming down from them and then attaching to them are their 3 children. So they had 2 daughters and 1 son. This is going to take forever to write. This would be a son. The middle one is also a daughter, at least in this case. Now we can, just for giggles, say that dad has brown hair, this daughter has brown hair, and this daughter has brown hair. Right, so that would be like a filled in family tree or pedigree chart. Now, we also have different generations, and it's important to know what generation you're talking about, or if I give you an assignment that said or I say it needs to have this many generations, please make sure that you understand the generations. Most pedigrees that we look at will have 2 to 3. That's pretty common. At least 2 to see traits, kind of like in the first example, but 3 really shows us how traits are passed down, and you may need to go with 4. In the past, I've had students create their own family trees, which I would like you to do eventually, not today. Some of them had 4, 5, or 6, depending on how far back they could go. But your very top one, this is going to be your first generation. So in this example, there's only 3 generations, so this would be like the grandparents. The second generation will go right across, so it would be the grandparents' kids, right? In this case, they had 3. They had a boy here, because you see this line is connected to the grandparents. They had a girl here, and then they had another girl here. Now it looks like 2 of them have had their own kids, so this girl and this guy have 2 boys, and these 2 have a girl. So this is your third generation. Each generation, you should be able to draw pretty much a straight line through them to count them. So you would have 1, 2, and then 3. So that's kind of an easy trick. When you're creating them, obviously they're not very easy to create, especially on Jamboard. My lines are not very straight, but I tried to show you a general idea of what that would look like. On Google Drawing, it's a little bit easier because the lines will connect straight between your shapes, and your shapes can line up next to each other, so that is nice. Here is a pedigree chart that I found online, just a very generic one with no specifics at all. Um, so I just want to go over some of these questions. So how many males are in this pedigree? Well, we're counting squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8 males. How many females are in this pedigree? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many females have the filled in trait? So because this pedigree doesn't give us a key with what the filled in traits or the non-filled in traits are, I'm just looking for a number here. So there are 2 females that have the filled in trait. And how many males have the filled in trait? 2. Now, the last question is how many generations are there? Well, if I draw straight lines through them, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this case, there are 4. That was a terrible 4. There are 4 generations in this pedigree. Oh, I forgot to say something. Hold on. Going back here. If there ever needs to be, or if you get to that point ever, where someone has passed away, you can either do a single slash through them or an X through them. That would signify that they have passed away. It's really not important when we're looking at traits because those people usually had traits to begin with, unless they're a child that passed away really early. You can also signify divorce around the same way, where you kind of put a line in between them like this, if that's something that you feel that you need to do, or if you see it in another chart. Sometimes we may look at pre-made charts with those things in there, and so that's an important thing for you to see and know. Okay, well, I think that is it for pedigree charts, at least for the basics for now. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I hope you all have a great day.